on Luxury with Natalia. Delighted to be joined today by Merijn, who heads up the amazing newspaper and online platform, the SuperYacht Times. How are you today, Merijn?
Well, thank you, Natalia, for having me. I am doing very well. And how are you?
Yeah, fantastic. It's good to be back in the game. I've taken a bit of a break from all this with the interviews, but a lot has happened in the past few months. I was going to say weeks, but it's months. It feels like this year is just sped through, and it'd be cool to see what you guys have been up to, and also from your side, the sort of media side, what you've spotted and what's happened in the COVID times in yachting.
Yeah, I think, it's strange times indeed. Normally it's September, so we would be in the south of France for some boat shows. I think, the biggest change, first of all, business-wise, but also my personal life, is the traveling. Like normally you travel around 3 months per year and then going to all nice places and see a lot of different people. And now it's a lot of video calls, Zoom calls, and, seeing people virtually, which is also nice, but it's not the same thing. I think from a media landscape, I think, luckily as a business, we are not massively involved in events, because that's the area which has the biggest, taking the biggest hits. And we do a party in Amsterdam, but that's about it, and that's nothing major or complicated to organize.
Which one is, by the way, because everyone loved that party.
Well, this year there will be no party, so you won't miss it. I don't think it's a great idea to put 1,000 people together and serve some drinks. So. No, but I think from the website perspective, that's going very well. I think our traffic is up 20%, 25% compared to last year. Newspaper is still ongoing as well. Normally we distribute at boat shows as well, but it's only a small fraction of the distribution, and we didn't have any problems with sending our newspaper around. And from an intelligence point of view, I think we also only get more business as well, because people get more aware that they need to have good data and information. So I think if I look at our business, then of course things could have been differently, because people put things on hold. The uncertainty is never good in a market. However, we also like to take some opportunities. I think we did this webinars. I think that was nice. I think that was a fun idea, and I think at the highest point we had 800 people live watching at the same time. You saw already in, I think, March, April, May were really the best days for it, because people, there was so much uncertainty, so people wanted to hear what other people had to say, what's going on in the world, what's going on in the yachting world, how are other people dealing with their business. So then it was really we got a lot of people, and you saw already a decline around June, because I went back to the office. I worked home for 2 months or so. And that's more or less because we have a 1-year-old son, and he couldn't go to daycare. So we were both home to, look after him. But from around 11th of May, when the daycares opened, I went back to the office. So, and I think most people from our side are in the office 2-3 days per week. Some of them like to come more often, because it is, it's very close for them, and it's nicer than sitting home all day.
It's a new way of working as well. Some people have taken this very well, and they work well at home, and they feel that they're more productive. And I guess this is the new future of how we're going to do our way of business, and perhaps also reduce costs in terms of office space. That's all to be seen. But from a yachting perspective, your media company, that's great. And I think we rely very heavily on what you guys produce as content, and we're very interested to know what everyone else is up to. But what about you as the SuperYacht Times? Have you decided become more creative in this time to do some things differently? I know you launched something earlier this week, which is interesting. Maybe you want to talk about that a bit.
Yeah, of course. I think I mean, I'm always coming up with new ideas and new things, and 9 out of 10 things is not as great as I think in the beginning. But I like coming up with ideas because I think it's, like it keeps me busy, and like I think we earlier this year we bought YACHTIng, which is an infotainment system, and it runs on board yachts, and it's a completely closed off system, but it gives the owner information about where he's cruising to, and like information about the boat, and that has also some 3D the boat in 3D cruising in there. And then it was around, I think, end of April, beginning of May, that like we started thinking, well, of course you realize this is going to take a little bit longer than we all had hoped for, but like, I think nothing will beat the real experience of going to visit the boat. But it will remain challenging, and it is challenging to go and visit boats around the world. So, and then like I start thinking, what is the closest you can get when you want to go online, and then you have to use 3D. So, and I called the guys from our team of YACHTIng and said, like, is it possible to put 10 boats in the water next to each other in 3D? Said, oh yeah, but then we need to build it completely from scratch in a game engine. Mm-hmm. So, and then we started thinking about the project, and then I hired someone for a month to build this, 3D world as a test case to see if, like how it worked. And I thought it was cool, and he thought it was cool, and the other guys thought it was cool. So then I started to contact a few, shipyards who I know very well, and like Fatship, Leusen, Turquoise Yachts, and Gulfcraft really liked the idea, and they stepped on board straight away. And so I thought, we go for it. And I think we started building. I think we've hired 4 people now to work on this. It goes pretty fast, yeah, because like, I think like if you do it, you need to do it well, and then like you need to really speed up. And it's also not something I see as something temporary. And the thing we have created is SuperYacht Times 3D, and it's a complete virtual world for yachting. So, and I think it's like there's a lot of different virtual boat shows around, but we wanted to take it to the next level and make it really virtual by using 3D and a game engine. And the reason we choose a game engine, because these engines are, well, these platforms are created to run games which are technically very complicated on the internet and on other platforms. So yeah, and basically it's a cool way for clients to experience, because it's a bit like, you can just freely flow through this world. You can have a helicopter view, look at things, click on boats. But one of the nicest things as well is that everything is to scale. So if you have a 35-meter boat on one hand and a 37-meter, you can put them next to each other, and the client can move the camera with his mouse, so he can look at the boat from all different angles. So he has a lot more control, and he can compare a lot more than you would normally do on a website. And of course, on a website you can put 2 pictures next to each other, but you don't know the scale, and you cannot see them from all different angles. So I think it will, it will be a very cool platform, which adds a lot of value to the experience of the end user to find and just check out boats. And I think it's also a cool tool for a generation who is not so much involved in yachting yet, and that's probably the younger generation, the gaming generation, the tech generation, and I think they will already appreciate it as well. So yeah, it's keeping us busy. It's a nice, fun project.
Yeah, well, I heard some waves about something similar with gaming earlier on during confinement, and it really got me curious, and I'm intrigued to see how this is going to pan out for you guys in the next few months, and also how the industry will react to it, because it seems there's 2 sides of the wall. Ones who are completely not challenged by the idea of going virtual, others more classical, kind of waiting for the wave to go by and that we go back to the same old the yacht shows and visiting yachts the way that we are used to. But it's nice to see like the juste milieu, as we say in French, to see how that carries it all together. And plus we have to keep going, right? So the show must go on. How do we keep up with that? Yeah.
Oh, exactly. I mean yacht shows will still be around for like for a very long time, because like it's just a great way for everybody to connect and see boats. But like I think nobody can ignore, I mean, I think that's already for the last 10 years that pretty much all clients look on the internet as well. And like now it's even more so because people cannot travel. But you also hear a lot of people signing deals, closing deals without having actually met the person on the other hand. So, and I think that's probably going to happen even more probably because it saves just a lot of time and it makes like life easier. I'm not saying it makes it more fun, not the traveling, but it definitely saves a lot of time.
Yeah, and with travel restrictions, yachts are the ideal answer because, well, once you've hopped onto your yacht, you can still go to those places that you wanted to without having necessarily access to the land, but at least having that experience. So I heard charters are up, which is a good thing, promising. What's your insight of what's happened in terms of stats and that for yachting? What's going on? What's changed?
I think, I think if we saw, like the market, especially for, sales transactions came a bit to a stop in March, April, May, because, like if people had no idea how to close deals, clients were like uncertain, they want to go ahead. And then, of course, there was still a few deals here and there, which did continue. But, I think what we saw in June, July, August, there was a big rise in the number of sales, especially on the brokerage market. Because I think, first of all, some clients really want to have a boat. And I think, secondly, some deals were postponed and then they were able to conclude them. But, at least there was a bit of a positive sign. There was a bit of a bounce back in those months of at least boats being sold. And it were, not only smaller boats, but also some very bigger boats that got sold. And I think also if you look at the new construction side, I think there was quite a bit of uncertainty, especially amongst the shipyards as well, and rightfully so in March, April, May. But luckily, like now we are seeing deals are being done, and also, people are getting creative. Like these days, Damen Yachting Amos, who also just sold a 120 meter with Imperial, but they're also doing their own private, we call it a yacht show at their shipyard, with around 10 boats from fully completed to under construction and under refit. So they bring clients to them. So people are getting creative, and what is it? Azimut Benetti is also doing an event in Portofino now. So there's you see people are organizing more their own events as well to still have the connection with clients. And of course, not all clients can still travel to there, but at least some of them probably can, and some of them probably also want to see some boats.
Fantastic. And what's your take on the future? Like if we take it next year, what do you think is going to be completely game changing in yachting?
Well, of course, SuperYacht Times 3D, but I mean, game changing in yachting. I mean, I think, the yachting industry takes small steps, and I think we're not going to see any. I mean, it will be interesting to see how the bigger companies, the big shipyards, the big brokers, will look at yachting events next year. I think, are they still going to exhibit as many shows are they doing, and if they do so, are they going to do it differently? And I think, for a very relatively traditional industry, which has done many things the same for many years because it's just the way it is. And I think now we might see a shift in some of these things. And I think, I think it's probably good, a bit of a shake-up of some things.
And there will be more marketing budget allocated to things like what you guys are doing. And from a marketer's point of view, maybe they'll invest more on great marketing, more innovative ways of showcasing the information, websites, designs. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think, you have to look at, there's a marketing budget, and, let's say it's 100, but if next year, instead of 100, it's 50, and then if they say, we're going to spend 50% more on digital, that means maybe the number of money they're going to allocate to digital is not high, but the percentage of the budget might be bigger. So, I mean, its first thing is, what is going to happen with marketing budgets? Will they, remain the same, or will they be reduced? Because, it's always a very possible option that marketing budgets will be reduced, because that's often the first things which see a cut. Not that I agree with that, but but I mean, and I think from these budgets, probably more will be allocated to digital, or at least tools that provide more of an ROI, which you can kind of, review if it works or not. So I think probably people get more aware as well of their marketing spend nowadays, especially when, they see a decrease in their budget.
Yeah, for sure. Great. Well, thank you for all your insights. I'm very excited to see how you guys get on. And of course, we can't see each other at the yacht show this year, but we do have virtual. We have all the social media, which reminds me to say, everyone, to like and subscribe this channel, and follow also the SuperYacht Times on their website for all the updates and social media as well.
Well, thank you very much, Natalia. And I hope to see you soon again. But otherwise, I'm sure we speak soon.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for watching. This was another episode of Luxury with Natalia. More episodes coming soon. Keep liking and subscribing. Thanks. Bye.